Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Vento Aureo, or Golden Wind if you prefer, Episode 4. So, yeah, last time we left off, our new JoJo, Giorno Giovanna, met, I cannot remember his name right now, but this capo for the gang that Bruno is in. And it's basically Giorno's way to try and get into the gang, which he's truthfully doing to try and eventually take over so, you know, kids can stop being sold drugs and stuff. Bruno is on his side, but has said that if he gets caught at any point, he's out. But he brings Giorno to this jail, this prison, where this capo is being held, and the capo gives Giorno a goal. He has to keep this lighter lit for 24 hours. By the way, I have to have Facebook open, so sorry if you hear the notification sounds. He has to keep it lit for 24 hours without it going out, without relighting it, anything. And he's doing pretty well at first, but then eventually it does accidentally go out thanks to this old man who's, yeah, just accidentally, like, gets water all over it. The old man ends up relighting it, but at that point a stand comes out of nowhere. It attacks and kills the old man after accusing him of relighting it. Then it seems to go after Giorno and says, like, did you relight it as well? And it's like, I kind of had this thought about, oh, what if it's like an automated stand? Like, it's not actually being controlled directly, but it's kind of autonomous. It goes off on its own, does its own thing. And I brought up the idea, like, have we ever seen a stand like that before? And I was reminded that we have. In Diamond is Unbreakable, Yoshikage Kira, his stand is Killer Queen, but it also had an offshoot of the stand. It had like this little... The stand had its own like little offshoot kind of thing, and it was called Bites the Dust. And Bites the Dust, it was like this little tank, and it would go around as this little explosive tank, and it was fully autonomous. I mean, it didn't do much. All it did was roll around and chase after its targets and blow up, but still. It was a threat, for sure. But yeah, I forgot about that one, because when I think of Kira and Killer Queen, I don't think of Bites the Dust that much, but yeah, that is correct. However, though, this stand is definitely different. It seems to have some level of intelligence, but it also doesn't seem to fully, like, know what is going on. Like, it doesn't seem to know who actually put out and relit the lighter. And I don't think it knows who Giorno is, either. I don't think... It didn't seem to recognize him. So I don't think it's, like, directly connected to the capo, if it is the capo stand in the first place, which I definitely am thinking it is. I don't think it's directly connected to him. And, I think it's more of, like, some kind of little, like, sentry that's sent out to keep an eye on things. I'm not 100% sure. But I am interested. So, at the end of the last episode, it turned towards Giorno and attacked him, so I guess we're going to see what happens. We obviously know Giorno's going to fight back. But so far... Like, I've shared my general thoughts on this so far. Vento Aureo is, in terms of its aesthetic, it's, as I said before, kind of a combination between parts 3 and 4. And I'm not a huge fan of it. because I thought part 4 Diamond is Unbreakable just had, in my eyes, the perfect aesthetic for JoJo. It wasn't like too overly aggressive with its lining and its palettes and all. It wasn't like the first couple parts where it was super aggressive and all of that. It kind of dialed things back a lot more and kind of smoothed a lot of things out. And I felt it worked so much better. And the big thing with it is, with this part, it seems like it's almost like it's trying to go back. It's regressing almost. And Koichi, his design in this part is a huge example of that. I do not like how Koichi looks. Especially with his lack of expression. The other characters have had expressions, but he just really hasn't. The expressions in Part 4 were one of my favorite things. All the characters seemed a lot more expressive than in any other part. In any of the first 3 parts, like, the expressions were nowhere near as good as they were in Part 4. I've been watching it through it again on Toonami, and it's like, especially with, like, Koichi, I was watching the episodes with Koichi where he was being kidnapped and tortured by Yukiko early on in the series. And it's like, his expressions and her expressions are phenomenal. There's so much depth to them. And then you watch Vento Aureo, and it's just like, what did they do? And I was told, one of you said something along the lines of, like, Araki was just really trying to find his style, and that he was, like, trying to find a balance, I guess, or something like that. And I get that, but I don't know, it's just so off-putting after Part 4. The story is where this part is so far really intriguing me. I really loved Part 4's story, so it's going to be hard to beat that, but I'm really interested in where this story is going. And the characters, I just don't think we're far enough in to really make any big judgments on the characters yet. But I'm excited to see where this goes next. I'm excited to see Giorno's battle with this stand. And yeah, we're going to check this out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Because after it fades out and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, I think I skipped something. Maybe not. Either way. So yeah. So go watch the reaction down in the comments below, then come back here to the redirect, and yeah, after it fades out and fades back in, everything is my afterthoughts. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in. I swear I messed this up somewhere. Either way, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so, another good episode. I enjoyed this. So, Giorno with Koichi actually helping in it, which actually surprised me, but actually shouldn't have. It makes a lot of sense since Koichi was there and everything. So Giorno and Koichi managed to stop Black Sabbath, we now know, which, great name, by the way. I actually am a fan of Black Sabbath, so not like as much as other bands, of course, but I'm still a fan. Either way, so they stopped Black Sabbath, or Shadow Sabbath, as it said. I mean, obviously, it's obvious to tell when some of them are the same, or, okay. It's obvious to tell what some of the stand names are supposed to be sometimes, even though they're changed for copyright reasons and all. Like, obviously, in Part 4, Worst Company was Bad Company. Like, that's obvious. And it's obvious, Shadow Sabbath? Yeah, I mean, Black Sabbath. We know that Araki, the creator of JoJo, loves music and making musical references with his characters and stands and whatnot, so it's not a surprise. I mean, Part 3 had a character named Jay Guile, the Jay Giles Band, for example. So this kind of stuff isn't anything new. but sometimes they're not super like obvious. Like Zipper Man, how are you supposed to realize that's referencing the Sticky Fingers album? I mean, just because it has to do with the zipper, that's not enough of a clue in. But either way, not the point. So they stop Black Sabbath by exposing him to sunlight because apparently he's a vampire jester. But since he's a remote-controlled stand in the same way that Bites the Dust with Kira was in Part 4, there's not really that much of a notable connection with the stand user. So Pulpo didn't even know that Black Sabbath was defeated. When Giorno goes back to Pulpo to deliver the lighter, Pulpo accepts him into the gang and gives him the pin signifying his entrance. However, before leaving, Giorno set up a death trap for him, turning one of his guns into a banana to trick him. And so the next day, when Pulpo was eating that banana, he ended up shooting himself in the mouth, in the throat, just right in the mouth and out the other side, killing him pretty much instantly. Now, I think if the cops were going to really look for who did this, obviously Giorno would be an extremely obvious suspect. I don't know how many people visited Pulpo on like a daily basis or whatnot, but if Giorno was the most recent visitation, he would be the top suspect. Then again, now that he's in the gang, maybe he might have some immunity from being questioned. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. We'll have to see. But yeah, so he is in the gang, and he's working specifically under Bruno, or Bucciarati. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call him Bruno. So he's working under Bruno, and at the very end we get to see the other characters in the intro, who we find out are Bruno's gang. And so I'm interested to see what exactly their stands are, what kind of characters they are. Because every season of JoJo, every part, we have a team, basically. And it's not always like a really obvious team. And sometimes the teams are small, and sometimes they just have different members joining at random times. Part 1, I mean, initially it was Jonathan, but he brought in Speedwagon, Zappelli, and then we had Zappelli's mentors and friends and everything. I cannot remember their name. Two of them were Dyer and Straits, though, because Dire Straits. And I cannot remember the leader's name, but they kind of joined in to help as well. And then you had Joseph with Caesar and Lisa and whatnot. Stardust Crusaders had, well, the Stardust Crusaders. And of course, part 4, we had our team with Jotaro, Koichi, Josuke, and a couple others here and there. Okiazu, of course, can't forget about Okiazu. But it seems like our team JoJo in part 5 is going to be Bruno's gang. Bruno's gang in the Passion organization. And I'm cool with that. I like Bruno so far. I like Giorno. Koichi's probably going to be more of a supporting role overall. Like, he had some focus in these early episodes, but I don't think he's going to be, like, the biggest character. He's not going to be one of the main cast. But, I mean, you never know. I'd be interested to see where it goes. But yeah, overall, I really like how this episode turned out, and I can't wait to see what else we get, both from good guys and bad guys. Since it's a gang kind of thing, I assume there's going to be a rival gang or something, so that'll be interesting to see. And I wonder if we're ever going to see that guy that inspired Giorno as a kid. Like, if he's ever going to come into play. I kind of hope he does. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments below. If you know anything about where this is going to go, please, no spoilers. I wish to remain spoiler-free. And in the meantime, thank you so much. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing.